complicated fractures when there's not unity amongst the intersections, and we're seeing that, I think, on display. And who is here? We got 51K talking about Lurch. Was that from the Addams Family? Yeah, that looks like Addams Family, right? But that's OG Addams Family. That's Lurch. What's her name? Penny? I watched some of those, some of the newer ones going up. Hey, Jacob says Mozilla's working. Oh, good. I got an email on Local, so Local sent an email, said, hey, we had like a system-wide problem, and we're sorry about it. We're working hard to fix it. So hopefully Locals is working around. See, the Veil says, had to refresh Locals twice to get the chat to work. Well, maybe it's not working. I spoke too soon. Tom McC says, those people around Biden are the ones that are actually running things. Absolutely. And I think it's, from our jurisdiction, it's Merrick Garland, it's Lisa Monaco, it's kind of those people who are the deputies, the people who are, in a way. What's up? Anita is here. Mike H is here.
See you,
so Wednesday, Anita's here, says, I'm here, Robert, just listening. Mike says that, Wednesday.
I got to go make a wine purchase for
Wednesday. That's
Mike
says, I'm here too. What's up, Sam in Texas? We got Jason.
Vineyard out
here.
Up in Michigan.
Why you got back
before I go into work
on the stream? I don't think I do. I think that might be because it's just the members only and it's live. Is that possibly what it could be? Okay, so interesting. So I have a notice from YouTube. Okay, I'm going to change some settings before we come back on the feed. All right, so I think it's because it's a members only feed and it's live. I think that's why you can't do background play on YouTube, but I'm not positive about that. What's up, Monica? My day is going great, man. I hope yours is well. But not a man, just I use that in colloquially. Jekyll's here. What's up? Good morning, Jekyll. We got Jigums in the house. We got Debs here. Says still waiting for the Locals TV app to do live stream today. Any info on that? And they're like, don't. I can ask about that. I'm meeting with Locals, I think, next week. So I can definitely ask about that. We're going to meet to give it, to have some feedback and to get an update on things. So I got a meeting with them scheduled. I think it's next week, Tuesday? Next week, something like that. Rob, can you show us how to dance like this? Well, it'd be much worse than that, but I could give it an attempt, no doubt. What's up? V is here. And we got some nice links being shared. Sam in Texas. Hey, what's up? Linda Hinojosa in the house. Thank you for that. Very nice. Very generous dono. And, I want to see if that queues up here on the screen here in a second. Let's see if that hits the alert box since that came in on YouTube. We're going to see if this works. It might pop up on the feed. We're going to give it a little time here. But Linda, thank you for that. Very generous. It's a very, very nice Wednesday morning hello. Thank you for being a member here. Very, very nice. Yeah, so there's this alert box that might pop up on the screen, but we're going to see if it's working or why it's not working. Like this tool that I have. Allows us to do some other things, but I don't know if it's going to work on a Membo stream or not. We'll see. It might not work on a Membo stream because it just scrapes from the public feed. I think that might be why. All right, anyways, Linda, thank you. Very, very nice of you. Okay, we had some nice comments come in. So let's see who is dropping this one off. What's up, Wendy K? Wendy K sent in a nice note. Says a tip for the comment, but not a chat. Says, Rob, I was thinking again about this after the show, and I've done some more digging and I found the answer. Your thought process was that there are some presidents that have been reelected, but that doesn't seem to make sense, as there have been 21 presidents who have served a second term. Well, yes, there are presidents that have served 2 terms. In the case of FDR, almost 4 terms. Some presidents didn't have an inauguration due to extraordinary circumstances, 9 to be exact. So due to death, murder, resignation of the sitting presidents. That is very interesting. That is a fun fact. Some presidents didn't have an inauguration due to extraordinary circumstances. 9 of them. I would not have guessed that. That would be a fun trivia fact. How many presidents in the United States did not have an inauguration? What would you have guessed on that? Like out of the 46 presidents that we have, how many did not have one of their terms have an inauguration? I think I would have said maybe 2, 5, less than 5. Probably, you'd think like maybe the Civil War, maybe they, Civil War, but that was just not that long. So maybe it's one inauguration that you don't have, maybe during the founding era, War of 1812, to like a couple conflicts that may have kicked it out, but 9 don't have that? That's interesting. Now, I was feeling this, I just would have guessed it. Now, logically thinking through, like 9, that's a lot. That's like 9 it's almost, what percentage is that? It's a high percentage of all the inaugurations, although if there's 15 inaugurations, then it's a lower percentage of the presidents. But anyways, did the alert pop up? Did I miss it? It did pop up. There it is. Woo! Hey, there it is, Linda. Thank you, Linda. How cool is that? Very cool. I almost missed it. I was, to a different conversation. Okay, so anyways, great fact. Says, I was feeling nostalgic with the state of the world such as it is, so I decided to watch Trump's inauguration speech, which was so great. Then a real question popped into my head. I may just have a foggy brain, or perhaps there was something I'm missing, but can you explain why Trump's inauguration was the 58th? And also for this is the follow-up question. This is the chat from yesterday's. So that's great. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know so now we're getting into numbers. Now you're asking us to do like math here, which is not, that's a bad situation for me. So, yeah. So like, did he not do on inauguration between 73 and 79 days, first inaugurations, all public were then held on March 4th, except these. 59, since the oath has been administered at 59 public inaugurations over the years. Yeah, it's interesting, fascinating. I don't know. Though it's not a constitutional requirement. Dates, locations. Yeah, it's fascinating. The oaths. Very cool. Anyways, that is a fun rabbit hole. Thanks for sharing that, Wendy. Love that. I was in a different dimension. Yeah, I don't know where it was. I was in a different dimension. That's exactly right. Trump was great on Hannity, says Fred. What's up, Fred? Yeah, I did see a couple of clips. There was the one clip about the dictatorship thing. And yes. There was that one clip about about the dictatorship, and I think we'll probably get that cue on the show today. We'll see. Hey, Troublemaker Jonah's here. Says, hey, allow me to apologize to everybody in the chat and everywhere around. Troublemaker Jonah, thank you so much for saying that, brother. I totally accept it. Says, I make no excuses. I realize often I'm a little too much. I can lack self-control. My sincerest apologies, and invite anyone in here to correct me when it's needed. Jonah, thank you so much for saying that. Totally accepted. And look, I know, man, these things get a little bit hot, a little bit tense sometimes, sometimes, man. Sometimes it's easy to get fired up. So that's all, it's just like a little nudge. It's just, hey, a little beep, beep on the horn. That's all. And Jonah, thank you for saying that, man. Thanks for not getting, too offended about that. I just try to keep things in line. It's for all of our safety. It's for all of our sake. And so, Jonah, really, really stand-up thing to do, man. Thanks for even acknowledging it. Really a stand-up, honorable thing to do for saying that. And, I'm grateful that you're here, man. I'm grateful that you're on the chat and part of our community. And I know it's easy to get riled up, man. Sometimes I let it slip sometimes too. And we're going through emotional times, man. So very much appreciated, and a very stand-up thing to say there, Troublemaker. So thank you for saying that. Now, we got Mads is here. Good morning, Mads. We got Janine is here. We've got Sam in Texas. We got King Ginger. Says, Rob, when Trump wins in 2024, would there be an inauguration? I'm assuming there would be. I would hope so. We definitely like to see that. Yeah, we would definitely like to see that happen. King Ginger, Sam says, Washington's second inauguration speech only had 5 words. Well, I think that he's from a different time. When you didn't have to inflate yourself all the time. And these big grandiose speeches. You just come out there, like Gettysburg, like these very powerful speeches were pretty short. Brandon says, going to act as a presidential candidate, they aren't even trying anymore. Well, Liz Cheney, are you seeing that? Liz Cheney's now, like really considering it. And oh my gosh, I don't know if it's still up, but I was looking at Drudge yesterday, and man, they were just like, okay, so they moved it. So this guy passed away, rest in peace. But there was a big section. Yeah, this was all on top yesterday on Drudge, all the Cheney stuff. This was like all on top, right? This whole section was up here, all in red. Cheney, Amazon, most watched cable news. She wins a third-party run. It was all in red. Like, oh my gosh, Cheney. And they're just milking this thing. She might jump in for some reason. I don't know why. I think that wouldn't she take more votes away from Biden than from Trump? Like, she got obliterated in Wyoming. Yeah, she's got a book out. She's on this book tour talking to everybody and saying Liz Cheney, once a rising leader of the GOP, not anymore, says she may soon be ready to forge a new third party or even run for president with one in 2024. Now, I think she would spoil it for the Dems. Like, what Republicans would go over there? Independents? I don't know. I certainly our independent. Look, is January 6th the defining moment of our time? Is it the defining issue of our time for many people? I think it's a defining issue because it's a symptom of the corrupt justice system, which is a defining issue of our time. Because if we don't have justice, there is no society, right? It's like you can't have law without justice, and you can't have a society without law. So we're just kind of in a bad position when the justice system is self-immolating themselves into oblivion. And now Cheney is out, and she's going to say that what the Justice Department is doing is good and rightful, I guess, and that Trump is opposite, right? Trump is the danger to American democracy, as she's literally engaging in political show trials that are in violation of their own House rules, that are not even in comportment with the traditional norms of due process and equal protection under the law. No even adversarial proceedings were allowed in the J6 committee hearings. And now that's going to be the template, the framework for the next presidency? What? She says, I certainly hope to play a role in helping to ensure that the country has a new fully conservative party, she said in her book. It's out now. She said she also hasn't ruled out joining a bipartisan ticket in next year's election, like the one that was proposed by a group called No Labels, which I think nobody even knows about. I think that the situation that we're in is so grave, and the politics of the moment require independents and Republicans and Democrats, coming together in a way that can help form a new coalition. So that may well be a third party option. Now, the other thing that I don't write off on these things, right, for these people who are obviously going to lose, she's not going to win the presidency, right? I think that's a long shot because Democrats aren't going to like her. She's not authentic enough and righteous enough, and she's Dick Cheney's daughter, so that's not going to work for them. And obviously she's foregone from the right, so she's either going to be a spoiler or she's doing this for her own self-aggrandizement, which could also be the thing, right? She wants to spoil it for Trump, sure, but if it's looking like Trump's going to win, and maybe this is just a good opportunity for her to get out there and sell a bunch of votes, make a couple I don't know, probably 10, 15 million bucks over an election cycle, raise a bunch of money for her. I don't know how much money she would raise, but, she'd pocket a bunch of book sales, bunch of speaking gigs, fight against Trump. She'd have something to do for the next, 12 months or so when nobody cares about her right now. So it's kind of just to inflate their own self-importance, really. Cheney said that
Sorry, guys. Nobody's here.
If it seemed likely to play the spoiler role, if it would help to elect Trump, which is what many top Democratic and nonpartisan analysts warn. Yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of the default, where I think it is. A third-party ticket could give voters who won't vote for Trump but aren't sold on the likely Democratic nominee, Joe Biden, another place to go. Saying that calculation would affect her decision, she said, calling the defeat of Trump the crucial task to save democracy and to protect the Constitution. The president who's willing to ignore the rulings of the court, who's willing to ignore the guardrails of our democracy, is an existential threat. And I've got some of those clips, I think, that we'll probably jump into today, depending on how the day looks.
That's what she said.
Because she's out there, man, in full force. And so speaking of that, let's see how the day is looking. We've got a bunch of stuff cooking on C-SPAN. And so look at all this goodness. All right, we've got oral arguments in the Supreme Court. We've got the Senate is in session. We've got bank CEO testifying at an oversight hearing. Let's see what the Senate is doing, and then we'll jump over to oversight and see what they're up to. Here is the Senate. Ooh, about aid to Ukraine. Oh, it's Elizabeth Warren. Great.
They don't need our thoughts and prayers nearly as much as they need Congress to do its job and take action. We have shown that we can act in moments of crisis. Last year, after 21 children and teachers were killed in Uvalde, we passed the bipartisan Safer Communities Act. That was the most sweeping gun violence prevention legislation.
Gun violence prevention legislation.
But it didn't go far.
That's scary. Those words are scary as fuck.
Today, we have another chance with this vote to make it
An assault weapon's bad.
to move through their daily lives without fear of gun death.
Yeah,
I
remove
wouldn't be
it
fair
all.
with
Remove the good guys from
I
good.
urge Congress to reinstate the assault weapons ban that Senator Feinstein secured 30 years ago and that would help save lives today. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Senator from Minnesota.
Mr. President, I also am here to
Oh, gosh. Back to back?
with you
Elizabeth
back.
Warren and
I
Amy
wanted to address
Klobuchar?
some comments we
All
heard
right.
from Senator Tuberville. I think that people who are visiting our chamber today need to understand that for 10 months, Senator Tuberville has been playing politics.
Is it Tuberville or Tuberville?
Literally held the entire military chain of command hostage.
I don't know.
He was offered vote.
I thought it was Tuberville, though.
He was
Tuberville sounds a little strange.
the subject of a rules exception passed through my committee on a 9-7 vote that would have put all of the nominations together. And even then, he kept standing his ground. Finally, when he realized that a number of his Republican colleagues who came to the floor repeatedly were going to vote for that change, he finally relented. But it was the words of the military families and the veterans families that made the biggest difference.
All right, so you see what they're talking about over there. Let's see what else is cooking.
Yeah,
That
basically,
is the Senate.
we need more generals, is what
James
she's
is
saying.
testifying
Give us
at
more
the Oversight
generals.
Committee hearing, so
This wasn't
we'll
about
ask some questions about
enlisted.
Ooh, JP Morgan Chase,
Or even
Goldman
NCO
Sachs,
promotions.
Wells
It's
Fargo.
all about we need more generals.
Wow, look at this headline. Former Speaker Kevin McCarthy is going to resign from Congress. Look at the bottom.
It's not going to be impacted by the great environment that we see. We can share your perspective that the CDFIs form a service and reach a series of individuals in these markets that banks
Sidetracked. What do you mean cleaning your channel?
to access. Whether it's the investments that we make directly in them.
Don't delete anything. Just make it private if you don't want it to be on there.
We run here a lot of those through CDFIs specifically because they have the ability to
Unless you have it backed up somewhere else.
that aren't comfortable doing business.
Almost all my, even these regular streams on both my main and my side channel go to my Rumble archive automatically.
We have $2 billion in this CDFI country, and it has increased from about $1.5 billion 5-6 years ago up to $2 billion. And they're very interested in the way they can help us, including most recently, a lot of us participates in the Veterans Loan Fund. It's to work with veterans to start businesses. That's not unique to Bank of America. Many of us participated.
See you later, KB.
Parts of the economy, with counseling, are critical to the start of a small business economy. With counseling and other things are critical to the start of a small business. Not that we don't do a good job. We have $40 billion in small business loans outstanding. They grew 10% year over year. It's not that we all don't do a good job, and then it's just they reach it. So our commitments, it's been there for many, many, many years, probably since they started. We just don't remember the history. And we'll remain solid, ready, and strong.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm the chairman and board and others. I chair the appropriations subcommittee that runs the Small Business Administration and the Treasury when it comes to.
All right, so kind of some technical stuff there. So the breaking news is this: Kevin McCarthy is resigning, not going to be running again for a second term. It sounds like. So here is what the story is over from his X account. He said, as the son of a firefighter from Bakersfield, my story is the story of America. For me, every moment came with a great deal of devotion and responsibility. Serving you in Congress as the 55th Speaker of the House has been my greatest honor. Well, yeah, it was pretty short honor, but it was nice. Here's Kev. All right, we'll see how emotional this is and how long we can tolerate it.
He literally looks like a Republican Newsom.
17 years ago,
Get your Kleenex,
I was
my
elected
friend.
to a seat in Congress that I couldn't get an internship for. Today, I sit here having served as your whip, leader, and as the 55th Speaker of the House. As the son of a firefighter from Bakersfield, my story is the story of America.
Jesus
For me,
Christ.
every moment came
All right.
with great
Oh,
dedication
no.
and responsibility.
You want to get
Giving
behind me?
my
Go
best
ahead.
to all of you
I don't want you
has
behind
been
me if
my
you want to get in
greatest
front of me
honor.
that bad. Dumbass.
I'm proud of what we have accomplished. We won a House majority twice. We elected more Republican women, veterans, and minorities to Congress than ever before. We reduced the deficit by over $2 trillion while protecting the full faith and credit of our nation. We kept our government operating and our troops paid while wars broke out around the world. Traveling the country and serving with all of you, I have encountered far more people that want to build something than those who want to tear it down. I have faith in this country because America is more than a country.
All right.
America is an idea.
Ugh.
Today, I am driven by the same purpose that I felt when I arrived in Congress.
All right, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna run for president or something like that? I don't know what he's doing. All right, so that's Kev. Nice little love message. We did a bunch of great stuff, and I don't have a strong disdain for Kevin McCarthy. I know a lot of people do. I don't have a strong enthusiasm for Kevin McCarthy. I think a lot of other people do. I think he's kind of a traditional politician. I think that there was some things I was excited about that he was doing, which was, of course, well, it seemed like we were making some progress with the impeachment stuff and some of the inquiry stuff, which I think was good. But other than that, I think we had some pretty serious spending problems with him that I'm very unhappy about. I'm pretty sure that he delivered us the no cap on spending, right, as part of the last deal, which means if you take a look at the numbers of the debt, the amount of money, it's just kind of insane. So, I think he's kind of just part of the blob, just like the rest of them, honestly. And I'm not really feeling emotive about it one way or the other. All right, have a nice life, Kev. See what you do with it. Now, I like fighters for the cause. I like people who are useful for the cause. I like people who can grab the ball and move the ball forward. And I think I do get concerned that there's sometimes
That's
people
cool.
will throw out somebody on the right just because they're not 100% perfect. It's like, well, nobody's perfect. But if they can move the ball forward, like, I'd rather have a player who can move the ball 8 yards rather than no player at all, right? Or than somebody who can't move the ball. Yes, we want somebody to get a first down every run, but that doesn't happen every run. If we get 5 yards of play, okay, fine, we'll take it. Even 4 yards, boom, every time. 4 yards. Little bits and pieces. And I think there are some things good that Kevin did, some things not good that Kevin did. And what I really don't like about Congress in general.
Yeah, he's resigning so he can get those millions.
Stuff. I feel like there's a lot of that
Without any oversight.
Even in the next House, right? Even when we were in the next.
I think he honestly feels investigations coming.
Dealing culture that was there.
He's one of the big. Everyone talks about Pelosi and everybody, but he's one of the biggest traitors.
So, all right. So that's Kev. Let's see what X says. Oh, Matt said this. Watch gavelled out. Matt Gates. Let's see what else Matt Gates says. Matt Gates says he posted this. Get ready for a deep dive into the heart of the battle for the gavel that led to the throwing out of the speaker. So Matt Gates is kind of rubbing his nose in it a bit. Saying, well, sorry. Bye, Kev. That didn't work out for you. Oh, man. So without even skipping a beat, not even a moment, Kevin's still packing his boxes. Matt Gates is like, hey, Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Good luck. Where's he going to go? Is he going to be on Fox News? Anybody have any predictions? Fox News, or is he going
Hell, he's CNN.
to a defense contractor company?
That's more than
Is he
likely.
going on a book tour? Is he going to run for
He's going to be on the
office?
board
What
of
else? What else?
2 or 3 companies by the end of 2024.
Hey, what's up? Hey, I'm a Freeman. I'm a Freeman. I'm a Freeman is here. Says, good morning. Hemp Day, Wednesday, in the house. What's up? Good to see you. Says, I'm the new kid. What's up? Welcome. I'm a Freeman. We've got, we're glad that you're here. And we're glad that you made it. And is it Ima
Freeman?
or Ima? Ima Freeman or Ima? I think Ima, perhaps. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't try to get it right. But welcome. Viantika says, J6 is a strong indicator of what defines our time. Brazen, unambiguous, unadulterated oppression. Brazen, unambiguous, unadulterated oppression. From orbit. Yeah, I think is where you're going with that. So it's all, J6 is the excuse. It's the fake because to do what they want to do, which is what they've always wanted to do, is just go after a political party with whom they disagree. We got, good to see you, V. V says, pronouncing it depends on if it's 1B or 2. I think it's 1B. We'll have to look it up. Santos and now McCarthy? Dems will be back in power before we know it. Well, I think what probably McCarthy's plan is, right? He's probably not going to leave like now. But I think he'll probably just not run for office again. Serving you has been great. Like, is he leaving today? Do we have to finish it? What's his plan? Okay, take your mic off. Is he leading like today, or is he, he's probably just not going to run again, is what I think. All right, let's see if there's a story about it. I'm sure Politico has something. Let's see what they're hearing. What's up with Kev? And is there a debate tonight? Oh yeah, there is a debate tonight.
Surprised if there's a debate tonight that Crowder was on earlier.
We'll try to get the GOP candidates to go after Trump. And yeah, why Vivek is a bully on the debate stage. Because he's debating? That's what you're supposed to do? Anyways. So here's McCarthy apparently says, I've decided to resign for Congress by the end of the year. So the ousted speaker is resigning from the House at the end of the year. What? I've decided to depart the House at the end of the year. So not until the next election. Yikes.
Hey, I'm indoctrinated.
So the California Republican speaker in history get ejected from the position. Few expected him to stay in the House as rank and file member for long. McCarthy is expected to remain active in party affairs, including exacting revenge on the people who booted him. He's confirmed that he'd still be politically involved in the op-ed, writing that he plans to help the country's best and brightest run for elected office. There have been tension points in the House. Politico first reported that he was strongly entertaining the idea of leaving Congress. He's slated to have a party in his honor on December 13th. Yeah. Thanking him for helping delivering the House majority by two people. His retirement will also kick off a race, this is what I wanted to see, for his Bakersfield-based district seat, which is solidly red. All right, so the Republicans will at least keep that. And there are plenty of ambitious GOP politicians eager for a rare shot at a safe seat. So even before McCarthy announced his plans, Central Valley political insiders were circulating a list of more than a dozen contenders already. Among them are several state legislators and so on. Broke back ways to former speaker. Fong is another person. And so McCarthy will, evidently stick around, but the seat is likely to stay red, which is good. So there'll be a special election and we'll see what that does. The GOP debate is taking place tonight. And who's moderating this one? Is this Megyn Kelly? Let's see. Republican presidential hopefuls, moderators for Wednesday's battle in Alabama want to change that. 4 candidates will be there. Ron, Nikki Haley, Chris Christie, and Vivek.
Why is Chris Christie still there?
And yeah, that's right. Everybody else is gone now.
Why the fuck is Krispy Kreme
Tim
still
Scott's
there?
off the stage. So they're set for the stage. So far, not one has made a serious dent in Trump's polls. And close. The candidates are making their case on stage. They've got 6 weeks before the caucuses begin in Iowa. Trump has a 40-point lead. Usually, the former president is going to be passing on the debate. RNC announced Monday Vargas is co-moderating the debate alongside Megyn Kelly. Right on, yeah. So Megyn Kelly's going to be there. And Vargas, I'm not sure who that person is, but News Nation will air the 2-hour event. Politico's so rude. A fledgling television network self-described as a centrist alternative. Why don't they just call them a bunch of jerk-face poo-poo heads, too? You know? News Nation, those poo-poo face heads over there. But who's stinky, also, as a fledgling network, punks. Will air a 2-hour event. The event's also going to be broadcast on CW. There's a chance on Wednesday, the last opportunity for the lower polling candidates. I don't think it's going to change anything. All right, let's see what election betting odds says before the debate. And you can see numbers steady for all the candidates. Nikki Haley is still at a 12. And Ron pulled up
Christie's got 0.5% of the betting odds. Oh, no. There's somebody else above him.
So,
scroll back down. Oh, he's got less than that.
See if anything changes tonight. So, you know, they're going to have to start swinging for the fences, man. I don't know if the bank's going to start trying to take them out or whatever. But, you know, again, it doesn't matter. Even if you added them all up, Trump is still far ahead.
Have a good one, Claiborne.
That is what's going to be
for hanging out
tonight. That should be fun to catch up on. Yeah, other Republicans are debating.
Some grind work to do at the office, so I'll probably just stream something long.
Santos Crash has 4.5 candidates on the debate stage. I think you're talking about Christie? That's a Christie joke, isn't it? Hey, Viva's covering it. Okay, cool. So Viva's going to be streaming that? Awesome. Wendy says, okay, shoot. Okay, watching the Watchers and Rob. I will have to drop for prep for my meeting. Glad to have this time with you all each day. Me too, Wendy. Thank you for saying that. I really enjoy it too. I really enjoy saying good morning and saying hello and hanging out. It says, it invigorates my mind and my resolve to be the best citizen I can be by getting educated. You all help me in this journey. And thank you, fam. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the great comment this morning and for kicking us off with that sort of inquiry. And I hope you have a great meeting and a great Wednesday, rocking and rolling through the week. Make it a beautiful day. And we're wrapping up here too in a minute. We've got Salty Old Guys here. What's up, Salty? We're going to see if that one pops up on the screen too. It says, I think it's funny that one candidate ran his campaign from the basement and won. The next day, one will be running it from various courtrooms and we will win. Ooh! Yeah, that's a nice full circle that's coming around, isn't it? Yeah, and I don't think Joe Biden really won that last election. I think they rigged it in his favor in multiple varieties that we've all learned about.
Google did it. More than all that other stuff probably happened to a minimum.
Suppression.
But what really controls elections is searches. And Google, it's been proven that. Hey, LVA. Oh, I love the avatar.
I get your point, right? He didn't really do
That's
much.
awesome.
Down in the basement. They're going to say Trump's going to be bogged down in court. Did you see yesterday, which I didn't really even dig in on this, but on the juror summons, they're saying like 3 months of the trial. So for March, for 3 months, then we're going to go right into theoretically the Florida case, although that's going to get moved. But then we'll see if they do the August case. I mean, in the RICO trial. And we'll do a RICO update today as well. We'll see what's cooking on that one. But okay, my friends. And so I think I saw another one come in from the Rubos. Thank you to the Rubos. Let's make sure we got some of these donos in the house. The Rubos say, good morning, Rob and everyone here. Happy to see the live stream is working. We prayed. Tip from yesterday that failed to go through. The best is yet to come. Thank you, Rubos. Man, you guys are awesome. And of course, make sure you get your salt at rubosaltshop.com. But that is a great tip. Yeah, and Locals is working hard on it. I know they sent an email. And that email's like, hey, we know, it's not working. So I'm glad that it's working. It does feel like the chat is updated now. And so even they were having 2 problems yesterday, right? I had 2 problems, they had 2 problems. At least we had them on the same day, in the same couple of days, so we just get rid of it. clear out the tubes. Thank you to the Rubos. 51K, yeah, man. McCarthy is leaving Congress. And that one is very interesting. I wonder where he's going. Spud says Liz Cheney doesn't talk to
I know.
She talks at everyone. She does. You're too stupid, and you have to join in my cause. Otherwise, America is going to die. We're all going to die. And
Ham and cheese sandwiches.
never-ending lecture. And Wendy K. should
No green eggs and ham.
chart at the bottom here. Oh wow, interesting. So yeah, it'll show you like who did not get inaugurated. I guess theoretically.
Ham and cheese sounds good.
And where it took place. Saturday, inauguration of Andrew Jackson, an extraordinary inauguration. So like that was not counted as part of it. Andrew Jackson, Chester A. Arthur, Teddy Roosevelt had one, Calvin Coolidge, 1923, Harry Truman. Okay, that one's like World War II. Okay, like that one I can, maybe that one. LBJ. Okay, that one's another good one. Okay, so like the assassinations makes sense, right? Because that was like on a airplane. LBJ got inaugurated on an airplane. Gerald Ford after the resignation, that makes sense. Of Nixon. So those ones you think about. The war, I was thinking about like the Civil War. It's Calvin Coolidge, like it's Teddy Roosevelt. Let's go back up. Chester A. Arthur, Millard Fillmore, 1850. Yeah, I mean, but even Andrew Jackson had that one. Interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting. So great little rabbit hole there. Okay, so good stuff from Wendy K. Wendy K says 19% of presidents didn't have an inauguration. Right? That's like, what? That's wild. And you do the math on that, right? It kind of looks like a. I wouldn't have guessed that. I definitely would not have guessed that. I mean, now it's like it kind of makes sense. Like shooting from the hip. Like, no, it's a huge thing. Tommy, see those people around Biden are the ones that actually run things. And Spud says, Rob, that's Mr. Greasy Gavin Gruesome Newsom video. I mean, that's a good one. That's like the Dr. Seuss level. Mr. Greasy Gavin Gruesome Newsom went to do some something, whatever. And
got to get about 7 bottles, maybe 8 bottles of wine.
Did just say the border was secure? Of course, their lips were moving when they said that. They said a lot of things like that, and it doesn't mean it's true. T. Lewis says, hello, Rob. Hello, my fellow watchers. Hope everyone is having a wonderful Wednesday. Hoping locals will be kinder today than yesterday. Yesterday sucked. Yesterday did suck, man. It was not a good day. Not a good stream. Across the board, we had a lot of technical difficulties. Locals did. I think
I love food. Food is good.
What's up, King Ginger? One Nation Underground. Sam in Texas. Did y'all see Riley Gaines own that Houston House member? Yeah, she called her a misogynist. So a congressperson called Riley Gaines transphobe. And she said, well, if I'm a transphobe, you're a misogynist. She's like, Rob, I moved to strike that. It was a pretty funny clip. Pretty funny stuff. All right, and we had some very lovely donos in the house. Thank you for those, Linda, Hinahosa, and Salty Old Guy. You guys are awesome. And First Amendment says, Rob, we have a common friend. I hired Polish, Joe Polish. I'm sorry, Joe Polish. I hired Joe Polish, from Genius Network. Sorry, I was reading this like we were talking about politics. Joe Polish, the marketing company in the 90s. I saw he was a part of your Genius Network. Yes, Joe Polish is the founder of the Genius Network, and he's the founder of Piranha Marketing, and he's awesome. And First Amendment, if you haven't seen it, KB, you're still here. We have Joe Polish did an interview actually with us. So he wrote the book called What's in It for Them. Great book, I recommend it. And we did an interview on the YouTube channel, First Amendment. So if you want to check that out, I was over at his house. We did an interview, kind of walked us around his house. And he's brilliant, man. He's brilliant. I was just at the Genius Network annual event for 3 days, and man, I'm just jammed with knowledge. He was super cool. Very inspirational, very, very impactful. And hopefully it was a good operation. Hopefully he worked out well for you. G-Gum says, so glad to be here, G-Gum. We're glad that you're here. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for the very generous tip.
White chicken chili is so good.
KB.
I prefer
has
turkey
a dead
myself.
car battery. Ugh.
But
That
yeah,
is
it is good.
Not going anywhere. Well, we're glad you're back, KB. We're sorry about your car battery, unfortunately. That's terrible. Do you have jumper cables? I'm sorry, I know you already asked us all these questions.
It sounds delicious.
That's what you have to ask. You know, when anything obvious happens, you have to ask the obvious question. Do you have jumper cables?
But I like all kinds of
I
chili.
didn't think of that. Thanks, brilliant, Rob. Genius.
Anything but vegan chili. I want real animal protein.
Somebody asked that. KB says, I got AAA. All right, good. So you got it coming. NY says, let's see what Haley is made of. There's a rumor that war-loving Republicans will allow the DOJ to arrest Trump and try to steal the nomination from him.
It was snowing when I got up this morning, but it
allowed them to arrest
quit
him.
pretty quick.
Well, I mean, he's already
Supposed to warm up
arrested.
this weekend,
I mean, like,
up in the 50s again.
You put him in prison? That's true.
And I haven't had any good menudo in a while.
Okay, my friends, we are going to.
You gotta know the source when you get menudo, though.
Light pump for your car battery.
And I won't allow it to be made in the house because it stinks too bad.
Hey, Bean, sorry for your frustrating morning. Hopefully you get it resolved.
I do like a good bowl of menudo.
Get back on the
Lots of
road.
fucking fresh onions.
Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for swinging back in.
Cilantro.
And saying hello. We are going to leave it there, my friends. It is going to be a beautiful Wednesday. We're going to have a great show today.
Pepper jack
Tonight,
cheese? That's a good idea.
I think we got some stuff already queued up. We might have some of this Cheney in there, unfortunately, but we'll see. Maybe I can keep her out of it. But it is a great Wednesday. We've got a full day and a nice couple days of the week left ahead. And so I do hope you are out there getting after it. You're feeling great. You're feeling good. Your technology's working. You've got good energy. We're going to come back in a few hours to get into it again. And so until then, get out there, my friends, and make it a great day. See you soon. Bye-bye.
All right. Let's find something else. I think Crowder may still be streaming. Let me call her real quick. Her wife's messaging me. Hey.
Hello.
Why?
Because in my pre-screens, so all of a sudden it is underlining, like, you know how it underlines in red, like if you have a spelling error? Well, it's underlining everything, like even if it's spelled correctly.
Do you have some extension running or something? What browser are you using?
Chrome.
Try using a different browser.
Who runs best in Chrome?
It doesn't work good on Brave? Do you even have Brave on there?
Yeah, I do.
Just make sure the shield's off. But yeah, in about, I could probably do it in about 40 minutes or so. I'm getting ready to exit Dundee right now to get that wine. Before I go, I gotta remove a bunch of people from Electroprime that are in the system. There's like 150 people that should have their assignment ended that are still active in the system. So I need wine done by the end of the week. Should I get maybe a bottle for the white elephant thing at work?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it should be about $20. I'm not gonna spend more than that per bottle. So. We'll see what they have. Tell me if that helps. If it doesn't, when I get to the office, I'll remote in.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
$50.87 clear, sir.
Clear 5887. Can you copy of traffic hazard?
Go ahead.
In the area of Dean Road, east of Lewis, have reported about a trailer parked in the roadway. No callers set out around it. Caller think creating a hazard. No one to see.
Oh shit. This way. Slow cooker will work. Let's keep it low and let it run. Wow, there's nobody here. What time do they open? St. Julian Winery and Distillery. It's hot. Well, says they're open. Let's get something playing in the background besides scanner for you guys if you want to hang out.
Central to 5048. Copy on this suspicious.
48 Trina.
30 Jerome Street.
Problem with locals, guys, so join us in Rumble chat today because locals ain't working. We're going to sort that out as soon as we possibly can. We've got a fantastic investigation coming up later into Conor McGregor's candidacy or path to the presidency of Ireland. Are we going to see more emergent populist figures, pugilists or otherwise, opposing establishment corruption as we approach this saturation point? When we have the centralist Democrat establishment accusing other people of being dictators when it seems like they are primarily interested in abandoning, for example, the Floridian primaries, which is that's a literal election. And when they seem to say you can have any candidate as long as it's Biden, what is dictatorship like now? What is it that defines and determines dictatorship in 2023? Is it a kind of banalized autocracy? We're on Facebook as well. Thank you very much. If you're watching us on Facebook, you're going to eventually have to join us over on Rumble. But for now, we're going to be on all of these platforms. Hey, most of you are talking about Trump addressing the legacy media's claims that a second Trump term will be a descent into tyranny on Hannity. Let's have a little look at that.
Issue though, because the media has been focused on this and attacking you. Under no circumstances. You are promising America tonight you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
Except
Look,
for?
he's going crazy. Except for day one.
Meaning?
I want to close the border and I want to drill.
That's not retribution.
I'm gonna be, you know, he keeps, I love this guy. He says, you're not gonna be a dictator, are you? I said, no, other than day one. We're closing the border and we're drilling. After that, I'm not a dictator.
No, that sounds to me like you're going back to the policies when you were president. All right.
Exactly.
It's not taking it seriously. The humor is a powerful weapon against actual tyranny. You guys are going to have to tell me where you stand on this issue. Do you think the current neoliberal establishment is dictatorial, or do you think a second Trump term would lead America into tyranny. Just tell me, one, if you think that you're already in a tyranny. Two, if you think that Trump would lead you into tyranny. Something funny too says, drill, drill, drill. American Sun 76 over in the Rumble chat. Orange Moses. And I can see some of our friends from the Awakened Wonder Locals chat present in the Rumble chat today. Ashela, hello all of you. Thanks for joining us while Locals is down. Now, of course, the idea that Trump would turn dictator in any eventual second term is one of the common ideas and themes that is propagated by the legacy media. It's a continual idea that's pushed on shows like Morning Joe. While they're saying Trump is extreme, they use the most extreme hyperbole to condemn him and never address the corruption that's currently endemic within the administration of Joe Biden, or as he is often known here, the bribe and crime family team. For example, no one's talking on MSNBC at least, or on CNN about the payments that are continually made and have been made from foreign nations to Joe Biden, the payments that have been made from Hunter Biden to Joe Biden. There's so many things that are not being covered. They're not covering, for example, the Florida primaries being abandoned. I mean, isn't that one of the least democratic things you can do? And they're not talking about the super PACs, where the Democrat Party, or at least Democrat Party super PACs, are funding Nikki Haley, a Republican candidate. So what's happening? What's happening is extraordinary. Let's have a look at this is Morning Joe, where they're, of course, condemning Trump as being a dictator. Let's have a look.
Well, the lead story in this morning's New York Times is warning how a second term could unleash a darker Trump, highlighting the former president.
It could unleash a darker Trump. What would he become? Auburn? Burgundy? What do they mean by darker? And also, this is the kind of, sort of folklorish, mythic language that doesn't belong in the materialist, rationalist legacy media that purport to be the voice of the intelligentsia. That's, I would say, hyperbole and propaganda. It could unleash a darker Trump.
President's violent and authoritarian rhetoric on the 2024 campaign trail. The paper notes that as he runs for president again, facing 4 criminal prosecutions, Mr. Trump may seem more angry, desperate.
And I've been subject of a New York Times hit piece myself, and this is the kind of language and attacks they typically use. He more angry, more desperate, more dangerous. In order to take that seriously, you have to first of all embrace the idea that the current administration, the neoliberal establishment, after everything that went on during the pandemic period, in spite of all the global wars, in spite of the evident and obvious deception of the legacy media, are somehow on your side. Do you believe, yes or no, YRN in the chat, that the New York Times cares about you, cares about your loved ones, cares about your family, cares about your life? Do the New York Times and the legacy media speak on your behalf? Let me know, yes or no, just a simple yes or no in the Rumble chat. The through line that emerges is more long running. He's glorified political violence and spoken admiringly of autocrats for decades. And I can produce footage of Justin Trudeau saying that he admires China. And I know a lot of you have got some interesting theories on Justin Trudeau. Certainly Justin Trudeau did literally, and I think I'm allowed to say this even on YouTube and Facebook. Remember, you can join us here for the first 15 minutes, then we'll be exclusively available on Rumble. I think he literally, am I right in saying, did they bring an actual literal Nazi into their parliament and give him a standing ovation? Imagine Trump had done that. You know, there was that time he brought an actual Nazi, if that was true. But it is true with Trudeau. These kind of liberal figures, gently crimped and primped and speaking about compassion and protecting the vulnerable, I don't trust them to protect the vulnerable. They create vulnerability. They gaslight and they lie. They separate and divide. They create vulnerability. They gaslight and they lie. They separate and divide. They talk about hate speech when what they mean is the ability to censor. Let's have a look at how the rest of this piece of propaganda unfolds between the two teams, those two TNI players. I'm talking about the trusted news industry, the legacy media body, where they come together and have decided that it's you, independent thought and independent media, that are their enemies, not each other. They're not competing with one another for scoops anymore. They're competing with independent media. Why? Because independent media teaches us or encourages us to think for ourselves and suggest that we oppose establishment power rather than allow ourselves to be subjugated by it.
And dangerous to American-style democracy than in his first term. But the through line that emerges is far more long-running. He has glorified political violence and spoken admiringly of autocrats for decades. The Times points to an interview from more than 3 decades ago where Trump spoke
30 years ago. Like he said he liked China. He was pretty vocal on China, wasn't he? Remember they were saying he was racist because he says that China, China. It's one of his main catchphrases, wasn't it? Like that. Hey, you're racist, saying that came from China. It came from China. Now he likes China. Oh, yeah. What do you want me to do? Like China? Not like China? Tell me what you want me to say today, and I'll say it. Tell me what I have to do to support your regime that hates ordinary people, that hates ordinary Americans, that doesn't like the way that Trump seems to be able to reach the emotional resonance of rage that many of you are feeling about your government, and I would argue quite rightly, by their own admission, through their own policies. They're cancelling primaries. They won't let Joe Biden debate anybody. They won't let there be primaries in Florida. How's that democracy? Funding Nikki Haley the same way they did Pied Piper strategies with Republican MAGA candidates, to use their own phrase, couple of election cycles back. It's an extraordinary time, and it's extraordinary they call it democracy. And tell me what you think about the fact that Biden said that he's only running because Trump's running. I don't even understand that. You know, in his Hannity interview, Trump just said that's a talking point, right? Let's see how the rest of this piece of propaganda plays out.
admirably of how China crushed democratic protesters in Tiananmen Square, and also highlight.
He didn't say that was good. I bet if we go back and look at that interview, I bet Trump's not saying, what I liked was the way that those people were massacred in Tiananmen Square. The real enemy was that guy with them shopping bags standing in front of that. He should have been shot cold blood. I'd have shot him.
His past praise for former Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein.
He wouldn't have done that, would he? Wouldn't he? I like Saddam, Uday Hussein, or the Hussein family. It wouldn't have been that, would it? What he might have said is that there were no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and everyone went to war on the basis that there was no significant connection between Iraq and the 9/11 attacks on America, and yet it was used to legitimize war by the father of Liz Cheney, who came up with the phrase, by all accounts, of Orange Jesus. And now it's that you can't even talk about peace in your country anymore, and your country is significant when it comes to creating global peace. We all know that. We all know that America, to a degree, does have a unique place in the world, and that's why American politics is important to people like me that are in Britain and people like you that are in Canada, Australia. Let us know where you're watching, by the way. Okay, let's get into this. Have we watched even the end of this bit of propaganda? There's so much propaganda. I can't it's like swimming through treacle.
And Philippine strongman Rodrigo Duterte. The paper notes that in a hypothetical second Trump administration,
what you deserve is news that offers you this. Global politics is complex. Osama bin Laden was trained in the Mujahideen in Afghanistan, which was funded by the CIA. That Colonel Gaddafi was a hero and ally to the American people before he was, and by the way, think about where Zelensky could be going, because Klitschko, another populist pugilist, is standing up for what he calls democracy. You won't believe this. Klitschko is saying that Ukraine is in danger of becoming, in his words, worse than Russia if Zelensky isn't ousted. This isn't covered. This is a story they won't cover.
Forces that somewhat contained his autocratic tendencies in his first term, including some staffers, congressional Republicans, and a partisan balance on the Supreme Court, would all be weaker. As a result, Mr. Trump's and his advisors' more extreme policy plans and ideas for a second term would have a greater prospect of becoming a reality.
Uh-oh, danger, high voltage. Let's have a look at Jen Psaki on her TV show. Remember, of course, she was the White House press spokesperson prior to that. And whenever you see Jean-Karine Pierre, you see a person that's just thinking, please, give me an MSNBC show. I can't keep lying for this establishment anymore. This is exhausting. Don't ask me about the laptop. Don't ask me about the payments. Don't ask me why we're cancelling primaries. Don't ask me why Joe Biden said he'd stand up for ordinary workers, then backed out against unions everywhere. Don't ask me why this party says they care about the environment, then does nothing about the East Palestine crime. I can't keep it up. But Jen Psaki, this woman is on fire now because she's got her job on the legacy media, and I think she's doing a pretty good job. Look at this sort of gaslighting technique right at the beginning of the show. You'll love this because it's a literal description of what's continually happening, accusing other people of what you yourself are doing. Watch.
This pattern of accusing others of what you are in fact doing yourself is a classic Kremlin tactic.
Now, this is beyond meta because she is here accusing Trump of doing what the establishment elite always does, centralizes power and authority, tells you that the only way to avoid tyranny is by voting for them. The only way to avoid the dictatorship of a demagogue is by voting for one person, and that one person is Joe Biden. He won't be standing for primaries. RFK, to have a decent chance of reaching people, had to leave the Democrat Party that he loves, that his family is connected to historically. Is there a name I've forgotten that's more connected to the Democrat Party than Kennedy? They won't even put up with that guy. Why? Because he was outspoken about the pandemic. He's been outspoken about the nature of the pharmaceutical industry. He's been outspoken around a number of subjects, too outspoken for that establishment. Now, you know me. I'm English. Even if I could vote, I wouldn't vote Republican. I believe in independent politics. I believe in independent media. I believe in the sanctity of the individual, your individual right to your individual freedom and your right to run your community. And tell you something right now. The technology now exists for real democracy. The possibility now exists for real democracy. That's what they're terrified of. That's why they're fighting so hard. Your independent thought, your independent awakening is their enemy. You are the problem. That is why counter-terrorist organizations now are focused on what they call domestic terrorism. But what I mean is you.
But if this pattern of projecting onto your opponents what you're actually doing sounds familiar, it's because one of Putin's biggest admirers is using the tactics right here in the United States.
You can't say that. He's one of Putin's biggest admirers. That the photo they've used of Putin just going to Trump. Trump, just sort of like touching him favorably on the arm.
You can literally see that in the black and white on signs that Trump's campaign passed out at the same event that say Biden attacks democracy.
But that is an attack on democracy if you cancel those primaries. It is an attack on democracy if you won't participate in debates. It is an attack on democracy if you censor true information about your son's laptop. It is if you use the CIA to suppress information, if you use pre-bunking techniques so that people can't communicate openly around stories because they've been told in advance that it's Russian disinformation. If the Clinton Foundation fund the Steele dossier, all of that stuff is anti-democratic. The problem, even if you take their analysis, even if you take the idea that Trump is bad for democracy, the whole rise of Trump has been caused by them, by their abandonment of ordinary Americans, by their abandonment of ordinary values and principles. That in itself is driven by one thing. They don't like you. They don't like you. And I'll tell you that's not unique to America because the establishment in the UK don't like ordinary English or British people. The establishment in Ireland don't like ordinary Irish people. And as far as I know, the establishment in India or Sri Lanka or any of the African nations don't like their people either. That's what globalism means. It's when you have a cadre of institutional interests around the globe, transcendent of democracy and sovereign nationality, communicating, proposing their own interests, pushing their own agenda and preventing you from using any technique to oppose them, whether that's communicating openly. That's why there's censorship laws all around the world.
Case of wine, and I got this. This looks delicious.
In spite of all the indictments, and you've heard Trump the joke about this, people's disdain for the establishment is so powerful. You hate them so much, don't you? You've had enough.
Munster with bacon.
You're right to have had enough. But the more they try to destroy Trump, the more people like him. That's where they've gotten to.
And you can see it in a video posted to Truth Social later that night, captioned "Crooked Joe Biden and the Anti-Democratic Party." Not exactly subtle. This claim, of course, comes from the man who tried to overturn our last election.
Oh, Jesus.
The man who accuses
I'm so fucking tired of that. It's not even, they don't even believe it.
American voters. Now, Trump's projection is an obvious attempt to muddy the water. Sound familiar? To blur
This is that.
the line between fact and fiction, to confuse voters about the actual threat, and to mess with their ability to recognize what is real. If everyone is corrupt, then no one is corrupt, right? That's the point. This is a tactic you might find on a playground too. A child saying, "Yeah, I know you are, but what am I?" We've all experienced that. Or you might,
I don't know. I'm not in the playground. I'm here trying my best to generate a personal and collective awakening with the humble means at our disposal. Extraordinary piece of analysis from the Metropolitan Legacy Media there that it seems to me are pretty, Jen's A Puppet says Chris Digital 121. Yeah, for all I know, she does seem to be supporting the agenda. agenda of the establishment. I would say that the function of the legacy media is to amplify the agenda of the powerful, to normalize their ideas. And the establishment, if you ask me, goes beyond Democrat and Republican divides and lines. That's why you have a figure like Nikki Haley being backed in an extraordinary way. The top Democratic donor, Reid Hoffman, gives $250,000 to a Nikki Haley super PAC. That's strange. Tell me why that would be. Why, if you're a Democratic donor, would you give $250,000 to a Nikki Haley super PAC? Why would you want Nikki Haley's campaign to succeed? What's the angle? I don't understand. Who else is interested in Nikki Haley and her campaign?
Democratic
She's the preferred candidate
PAC
of the Republican
giving Nikki Haley
$250,000
for her campaign.
Founded by the billionaire Koch family.
That's what we call uniparty.
The group says, quote, in sharp contrast to recent elections that were dominated by the negative baggage of Donald
Always
Trump,
add garlic.
Nikki Haley's
Always add
popular
garlic.
ticket would boost candidates up and down the ballot.
I did come out and make a nice statement about Nikki.
You're one of the Koch brothers, isn't it? Here right now. Oh, this is Chase. This is from Morgan Chase. This one's like so. So whether it's the financial industry or the energy sector, everyone's going crazy for Nikki Haley. So why is that? Like, you've got to believe now that MSNBC, the Democrat Party establishment, the Koch brothers, the energy industry, they all love you, and Trump's the baddie. Or is it that he's a kind of berserker, a wrecking ball in the corrupt establishment? Is it true?
No,
You did. You've been talking to Nikki
very
Haley.
liberal. Yes, I have. Even if you're a very liberal Democrat, I urge you, help Nikki Haley too. Get a choice on the Republican side that might be better than Trump.
So what I'm interested in, I suppose, is the nature of this globalist agenda. Whose interests are being pursued, and how do they benefit from perpetual war, perpetual fear, the ability to induce the measures that become expedient, they would argue, in pandemics and crises. Let's have a look at Lloyd Austin now. Lloyd Austin has hit out American people who don't want to intervene in what many people regard as foreign wars or I would say conflicts that are beyond American interests. Here's an interesting condemnation. Well, let me just say this about Lloyd Austin. He may be defense secretary now, but he used to have another job. He was quite high up in, was it Wendy Burger? No, it wasn't that. No, what it was is he would just do volunteer work at orphanages. No, that's not it either. That's not it. No, what it was is he'd clear up litter and garbage from... No! He worked at Raytheon, the military-industrial complex company that benefit from perpetual war. But that's got nothing to do with his perspective now, I'm sure.
In every generation, some Americans prefer isolation to engagement. And they try to pull up the drawbridge. They try to kick loose the cornerstone of American leadership. And they try to undermine the security architecture that has produced decades of prosperity without great power war.
Well, who's that that's created that prosperity? Is it not the American people, not ordinary Americans working for them? What is he saying? That sort of Raytheon and the military-industrial complex and globalist interventionism and the corporatist project to dominate the globe and have it entirely governed organizations that are inaccessible to ordinary Americans. I'm talking your INFs, your WHOs, your World Banks. That's what's made America great.
And you'll hear some people try to brand an American retreat from responsibility as bold new leadership. So when you hear that, make no mistake, it is not bold, it is not new, and it is not leadership. As the old saying goes, if you think that education is expensive, try ignorance. And if you think American leadership is expensive, consider the price of American retreat.
And if you think an awakened and disobedient population is a problem, watch MSNBC and CNN. And if you think a population that recognizes that the class that runs them do not have their best interests at heart, but ultimately work for their corporate paymasters, then you need to watch more. Yeah, it's not a saying. You're right. That's not saying. Someone goes, that's not a saying. It's not like a catchy old saying, like stitch in time, is it? Hey, guess another narrative that's fallen apart. And I think that Lloyd Austin is advocating for further expenditure in the Ukraine war. In fact, there's $108 billion, I think, being signed off any day now. How much money? How much? I mean, I forget it sometimes. Of your money. Your money. Remember when you were working? Oh, but you love work, right? You're enjoying your work, and I think, what makes this work even better? Rather than connecting to nature and being with my family and my loved ones, what helps us enjoy this work even more is knowing that it's going to support an unwinnable war against the nuclear superpower that have said they will stop this war if Ukraine simply don't join NATO. But I want Ukraine in NATO. I can't live if Ukraine ain't in NATO. My interests, my personal interests are met by Ukraine being in NATO. And if you don't believe that, then I don't know if it's that you're a racist, we'll find something that you are. You just get Ukraine. Why are they not in NATO? I don't even know. Do you know what NATO do? The benefit of bothering Russia. I'll tell you one person this guy is Ukrainian, a great Ukrainian, a great Ukrainian champion. This is Klitschko, Vladimir Klitschko, the former heavyweight champion, now mayor of Kiev, saying that Zelensky is out of control. Now, I like Zelensky. Any entertainer that can go on to become a president of a nation, I got respect. Well done. But Klitschko, though, he seems like a patriot, and he's got this to say.
Vitaly Klitschko, who's the mayor of Kiev, he's delivered an unprecedented critique of President Volodymyr Zelensky.
Yeah, it's quite an
I only know one Ukrainian. I've got to do more research.
it's quite an extraordinary article with Vitaly Klitschko, the mayor
So we're
of
going to go
Kiev,
less than
who
the speed
warned
limit
that
now.
Ukrainians are losing trust in Zelensky, who he says is becoming increasingly autocratic in his presence, so much so that he warned that Ukraine could resemble Russia in the near future, at least politically. But Zelensky...
I mean, after all this trouble, do you know what this place reminds me of since we've had this war and killed all of our young people? Go on. It's not, yeah, it's Russia. That's the whole point. We wanted to distance ourselves from Russia, even though there is some ethnicity that is shared and something. No, the irony.
He is facing criticism from other high-ranking officials in Ukraine. Really, the first signs of a growing rift in Ukrainian leadership, particularly as the war sort of settles into a stalemate for the foreseeable.
A nice little stalemate, just like Afghanistan. Nice little stalemate. We keep that going for a decade. Or warm yourself. Luckily, the Pentagon, they'll have an audit soon, and we can find out exactly where that money's going. Your taxpayer, 50% of your taxpayer dollars. $14 trillion, or you can just warm your hands on the sweet propaganda of a military-industrial complex and legacy media that wants you ignorant and detached. Warms the cockles of the heart. They want a stalemate. They want a stagnant war. They want to drain your taxes, send it all towards the military-industrial complex, which is where 50% of your defense budget ends up. Your defense budget for your defense. You feel at risk if Ukraine ain't in NATO? Is that more important to you than supporting the people whose homes burned down in those Hawaiian fires? Is that more important to you?
Quit streaming. I just took yesterday off after that Jones plantation.
Is it more important to perpetuate this war?
I took one whole day off.
I'm saying diplomacy, peace. When did it become impossible to talk about diplomacy and peace? You just saw Lloyd Austin, former Raytheon employee and current defense secretary, said, if you talk about peace...
I'll even stream from the desktop once I get to work. If I ever make it to work with these guys doing 45 and a 55 here.
Land we got living down here seems that it is.
Some have argued that a striking...
Jim says on there, says, where's Sean Penn really needed? Like, I don't know how many Oscars Sean Penn's got. I like Sean Penn, but yeah, that was a weird moment.
Some kind of accord or some kind of negotiation with Russia could end the war, but this is something that, for the moment, Zelensky is vehemently opposed to.
Extraordinary stuff. Peace was on the table. Then Boris Johnson, former British Prime Minister, went over there and suddenly peace was off the table as Zelensky Insider revealed that recently. Hey, listen, guys, we've been talking for 27 minutes now. If you're watching us on Facebook, welcome. Thank you for joining us. You're important to us. If you're watching us on YouTube, you are one of our awakened wonders, and how we love you. We need you. We want you to support our other content there. Remember, we make content on YouTube
deer parts.
every single day. Our investigations into what's happening in Ireland, our investigations into Fauci, and we've got brilliant pieces of
gosh, dude, come on.
We just show.
This guy behind me is not going to pass. He's got ass trailer attached to his
Fauci.
truck.
I think if you had 15 minutes with Fauci,
Alright, here we go.
questions
We're
would
going
you
around
ask?
them.
Did you find people who had Institute of Virology, or did you go out of your way to suppress the
She's fucking on the phone.
theory? What is the efficacy of those medicated? There's quite a lot of questions occur to me. I don't know what kind of questions occur to you. Let me know in the Rumble chat.
Leg
Post
pieces.
in the comments on YouTube if you want to. But for the rest of this show, we're gonna be on Rumble now because Rumble have promised us free speech, and free speech is not hate speech. And hate speech, this is the speech we're interested in. Wherever you are in the world, wherever you are from, whatever your culture is, whatever your belief is, we have more in common with one another than we do with the establishment that wants to destroy us. But 30 seconds more.
No, it's just ones that have been shot and that they couldn't track down and find that eventually die. Then the scavengers get in their dogs and coyotes and foxes and all that good stuff in there and go at it. The raccoons. I only had one that I couldn't track down ever in my life. I felt so bad about it. My dad told me not to worry. He's like, you know what? You just gave all the scavengers in these woods a treat, so don't worry about it. They don't even have to hunt for this one. They'll just follow the blood.
If we come up, we'll have 10 minutes. All right, listen, we're going to do, you're going to love this story, guys. Thank you for joining us. If you're, hey, let us know in the chat. If you're from YouTube, sign in. Get the app so you're notified when we make new content. You'll love it. Join us and join in with the conversation. And can you express your free speech over there? Now, listen, Conor McGregor and Ireland. This is
Never that long of a shot again, I'll tell you that, though.
Very outspoken.
Man,
I wonder how long
the thing bled like crazy.
Some pretty serious.
I tracked it for at least 3 miles. I mean, literally heavy blood for 3 miles, and that thing still kept going.
What is happening in Ireland is incredible.
I had to leave because it was getting fucking dark.
Extraordinarily draconian measures are being proposed in that country that's fought very, very hard indeed.
Shot at Northern Azimuth, got to the nearest road and figured out where it was. Yeah, I tracked it for fucking 3 miles.
Being proposed. The very fact is that the laws that are being proposed now in Ireland will mean that the Garda, that's the police force in the country.
I don't think I got back to camp until almost midnight. So fucking dark by the time I found my way home. Yeah, snow does make it a whole lot easier.
Commit to what hate speech means. They're not the bill is vague.
Fresh, as long as it's not snowing. Snow on the ground. If it's snowing, then you're fucked because the snow just covers it right.
Stuff they don't want you saying. And I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want people like
Yeah,
Conor
just
McGregor rising up and
a blanket of snow.
Because that's what topples them. That's what challenges them. Your independent thought is
We had some big flakes this morning down at the house, but none of it stuck.
See you on the other side.
It's going to be in the 40s today anyway. 50s by this weekend. Rainy.
Conor McGregor outlines his route to becoming the president of Ireland. Is this more pantomime politics, or is populism the only route through draconian legislation and an establishment that hates the people? People don't trust politicians anymore, and with good reason. People are sick of a legacy media that
Yeah, we really haven't had a hard one yet.
the interests of people. People
We've had a couple inches here and there, but
that hates them. So they're looking for, this is my theory, my idea, let me know in the chat in the comments if you agree, they're looking for leaders that are willing to stand up against the establishment. This will mean outsiders. This will mean new popular figures. This will mean people that the establishment doesn't like suddenly being willing to take up a political mantle and oppose the forces that seem to be very interested in limiting
Who doesn't see
individual
snow?
power and centralizing authority and keeping ordinary people out of the business of running their own lives. Let's have a look at this story. It's a very interesting time in Ireland because the censorship industrial complex are stepping up their plan to control free speech and even, in the case of Ireland, invade people's homes, even if they're suspected of being in possession of what is regarded as hate material or hateful material or hate speech material.
usually the big snows don't hit until January, February anyway.
What hate speech is.
We usually don't get much of a white Christmas here anymore either. It'll be cold, but usually won't have snow.
already kind of political rhetoric that will be a relief for some people to hear. We fancy the
Oh yeah, Carolina. They
reportedly
get tons of
by Irish police over his social media posts around the Dublin riots in late November. He himself
in the mountains,
being scrutinised even prior to this legislation being introduced. What do you think about Conor McGregor's social media posts? My interpretation is he's concerned about migration in Ireland. He's concerned about the violence that's taken place recently in Ireland. He's concerned about the lack of conversation around migration. And beneath that, this is my own analysis, claim to speak for Conor McGregor, he's probably concerned about a political class that no longer represents the people that were elected to represent. And as we pointed out in an earlier video, in a country like Ireland, that is going to be particularly problematic because ethno-nationalism is a real part of Ireland's history. Perhaps every nation's history, but Ireland is a country that's been historically oppressed by Britain, and their relationship to national pride is more understandable than most nations' relationship to national pride. Even though I would say we're all entitled to have a degree of national pride or tribal instinct. My hope is that is a very inclusive and open-minded thing, but these are in times.
She is not paying attention.
Has expressed
That's the one I was behind who sped up after we went to 2 lanes.
Let's have a look at Conor McGregor's post. Potential competition if I run. Jerry, 78.
Yakking away on her phone.
Ender, 74. Each with unbreakable ties to their individual party's politics. Curious that already Conor McGregor, in my view, has identified one of the dominant themes and problems in contemporary politics. It has become institutional and systematic. I don't claim to know much about Irish politics full stop or contemporary Irish politics, but what I do know is across the world there's a sense that a form of neoliberalism has captured the heart of democracy. And while you hear hysterical rhetoric around this politician is like a tyrant, these people are dictators, these people are right-wing, the centralist, neoliberal, kindness, safety, convenience, centrist parties seem more interested in shutting down democracy than any of these apparent tyrants and dictators that we're supposed to be terrified of. For example,
Gregory.
the government is in Ireland right now supporting a bill that would enable the police or the Garda, in the case of Ireland, to enter people's homes, take their laptops and computers if they are just suspected of having material that is deemed to be hateful. If the person
We'll be on the main channel in a little bit.
So
get things set up in the office here.
Yeah, that's good old-fashioned dictatorship. Regardless of what the public outside their parties feel, these parties govern themselves versus govern the people. Or me, 35, young, active, passionate, fresh skin in the game. I listen, I support, I adapt. I have no affiliation, bias, favouritism with any party. They would genuinely be held to account regarding the current sway of public feeling. I'd even put it all to vote. There'd be votes every week to make sure I can fund. It would not be me in power as President of the people of Ireland. It would be me and you. Even though this might be regarded as simplistic and naive by the metropolitan media class, this is the type of democracy that's possible now. A democracy of referenda. What do you want your tax dollars spent on? Do you support this bill? Do you want to spend taxes on roads? Do you want to support this war? Do you want more expenditure in mRNA vaccines? All of these things you could be asked. You could be voting on those issues, issue by issue, individually and independently. Do you want more censorship in Ireland? Do you want the police to have more power or less power? These are all things that could be debated, discussed and voted on. It's very curious that when people are accused of being anti-democratic, tyrants and dictators, no one ever mentions the possibility for real democracy that exists right now. I'm sure it'd be complicated and I bet it wouldn't be perfect, but we're not competing with perfection. We're competing with a pretty corrupt system that most people are sick and tired of.
We've tried that. It's called communism.
In the street out of sheer frustration, anger, disappointment and disconnection from their country and its leaders and the direction its leaders are taking it in. That means someone like Conor McGregor now, I believe, has a reasonable chance of getting elected where he to stand. Let me know in the chat in the comments if you think new politicians are likely to start standing in all sorts of new positions and roles across the world. People are sick and tired of systemic institutional figures that don't represent ordinary people, but represent the interests of the powerful. Globalist establishment elites. Vote for this person or this person, you're going to get the same result. Conor McGregor, in a 200-word post, has hit the nail on the head. On Tuesday, ex-owner Elon Musk replied to McGregor, I think he could take it all single-handed, not even.
And who did the banning? Was it a moderator or was it the channel owner?
Movements. And Elon Musk is a populist figure. There's a kind of ambiguity about where he may stand politically. Remember in his recent interview he said, I might vote for Trump, or I'm not sure I'd vote for Trump, I won't vote for Biden. Essentially, he's a spokesperson for the disenfranchised, curious though that may be.
What channel?
A wealthy individual. Most people now.
When they ban you, fuck them.
They're sick and tired of institutions that are trying to cling onto power and control our attention, control our consciousness, control the direction of our lives. We all know what the game is now. They're clinging onto power. They're trying to maintain institutions that are past their sell-by date. Again, in this little post here, these ages and these names, some of them are sort of pretty influential and significant political figures who've dedicated their lives to politics. But the fact is now, the world is changing, and it's changing fast. And it has to change fast, because there's a crisis of meaning, there are ecological crises, there are political crises, fuel prices are out of control, food prices
I don't even know who NG is.
Culture's out of control. In Ireland, people believe there's a migration crisis, and they're well entitled to discuss it, vote on it.
I don't even know who that is.
Talk about it. Of course, the liberal legacy media will always support free speech. They'll always support someone from a working class background getting involved in politics, because, you know, we're all supposed to vote, aren't we? It's our right. We should all be involved in politics. If we're not involved in politics, that's somehow negligent. Let's see how The Guardian reports on Conor McGregor's foray into politics. Conor McGregor isn't the first star to flirt with the right. Oh, he's fascist, he's right-wing. Immediately, he's not towing the neoliberal line. He's offering a genuine alternative. Where does the legacy media go? Must be racist. Maybe the legacy media, instead of condemning populist voices, far right or right wing or fascist or conspiracy theorists, and believe me, I've been subject to that kind of analysis as well as far worse, as you're probably well aware by now. Instead of that, what they should do is ask, why are people suddenly...
All right, guys, I'm going to, I will set up a desktop stream. Promise, I promise.
Sick and tired of unelected globalist bodies imposing regulations on their nations. Why are they tired of...
Yeah, cancel that membership then, so at least it doesn't renew.
Doesn't listen to them, hates them, and condemns them as racist at every single turn. Why would people be interested in systems that have only got that kind of rhetoric to offer? And indeed, when people complain, when people try to fight, I mean verbally, and oppose the mainstream domination,
Pirate Angie,
they're called racists, and new legislation
I don't know.
being passed all over the world, not just in Ireland, to censor and control dissent.
I've kind of pulled myself away from all that turmoil.
And in Ireland, it's the most egregious of examples.
I'm not going to be trying with my channels. I mean, it's...
In Ireland, remember, Conor McGregor is under investigation by the police right now because of tweets.
I spoke to a
I've said what I've thought about certain people, and
who was actively engaged with the social media companies throughout Thursday.
what I say on my channel's on me.
Irish politician.
The only thing that upset me was that somebody said some shit about the wife.
Word is appropriate for you. I think people should use language pretty freely, explaining how certain social media.
All right, I'll be back on my channel in a minute, my main channel.
Free speech.
Peace. Love you guys. Thanks for hanging out.
Live while the events were unfolding. What she's describing plainly